On this week's show, how to attract investors so you can make money in property.
In the news, we're going to be discussing, is John Lewis about to buy and build 10,000 properties?
And we're going to be answering all your property-related questions.
Welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Enjoy this week's show and don't forget to share it with all your friends.
Hey, I'm Russell Leeds.
Hey, Alistair Cunningham.
And welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. As you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can't see if you're not, obviously, you're just listening, then this is meaningless. But we actually are not together. I'm in a hotel room, probably quite obviously, and you look like you're in a spaceship.
Not a spaceship, why?
Oh, lights shining.
Light everywhere at the minute. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why. I'm actually in my apartment, and I don't know why, but the little lights above, the little spotlights above, they seem to all be pointing in different directions this morning, and it looks like I've got light coming into my head and all sorts. And
cross-eyed.
That's better. Look at that. Just put it there.
It's an oven behind you. You're in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm in my apartment kitchen. So yeah, it's all cool, man. So it's crazy at the minute. It's really, really busy. We're back to live events. We're all over the place. You're at one end of the country. I'm at the other end of the country. You're in. Yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good.
I'm in Newcastle. You're in London.
I'm in London. You're in Newcastle. And at least we're back this week. You're looking better and you're feeling better because last week you were a bit poorly.
I was a little bit croaky last week, but I'm feeling much better this week. So yeah. All right. So topic this week then, we're going to be talking about how to attract investors, how to be, it's very interesting. A lot of people, and Alistair is a prime example. I remember when a lot of people, if they're, let's say they're deal selling or if they're looking for whatever, they're desperately trying to find investors, right? And they're sending lots of letters or they're putting out lots of posts on social media, doing YouTube videos and stuff, and they're struggling to attract investors. And obviously you were in this boat as well. And then something happened and it completely changed. So suddenly you had loads of investors coming to you.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about it. And so we thought it might make an interesting topic for the show.
Yeah, well, look, one of the things, obviously, when I got involved in property, property is a people's business. It's all about who you know. It's all about the people you know. And I got involved in property, and I didn't really know that many people in property, or I didn't really know that many people that had the money to invest in property, or I didn't really know any investors. And I started with zero investors, and I was doing the usual. I was networking, I was meeting people, I was putting myself out there as much as possible on social media and all that sort of stuff. And I was slowly building.
Everyone does that, don't they?
Yeah, everyone's doing that because that's all they can do. So what else can you do? So what was happening was I was going to networking events and I was the one there trying to sell myself to the people at the room at the event. And I was like, hey, I'll find you deals. I'll help you with deals. And then I was the person trying to pitch to them my ideas. Then I was the person trying to pitch to them, hey, lend me some money so I can do this and all that sort of stuff. And the thing is, that's what everyone is doing because that's what's available to them at the time. And it's only when I started to get a little bit sort of more confident in myself that I started actually, it all came about because I heard you actually, it was actually you who's, yeah, so it's good. It was actually you, we were at an event and I've always been one-to-one. So do one-to-one selling, one-to-one talking, one-to-one mentoring, one-to-one. It's always been one-to-one. Now, one-to-one's good, but it's very time consuming because you've got to go and see every individual person. And you just happened to you just said to me, Alistair, you need to focus more on one-to-many, not one-to-one. And that got me thinking, you're right, you're bang on right. So when I was going to these networking events, instead of me doing one-to-one, I want the opportunity to stand up and actually speak to the whole room. I want to be able to speak to the whole room in a manner that they pay attention, they listen, and the people that like what I say come and see me, as opposed to me having to go around and filter out the time wasters and only deal with the serious people. And that all came from one-to-one speaking, one-to-many speaking, not one-to-one speaking. And it came by me originally standing up and just saying, hey, my name's Alistair Cunningham. This is what I'm here for. How can I help you? And then people started coming to me. But myself, you, Samuel, we've done a little bit of working and coaching to get that pitch bang on, and then crack on. I started going networking events. I started speaking. I started standing up. Eventually, I started getting asked to go on stage and do sessions at the networking events. And then I was obviously coming to all the crash courses, and then I started going on stage at the crash course, and Samuel started asking me to share.
In your story.
Yeah, all you're doing is you're saying, look, this is what I've done. That's all you're doing. You're saying, this is what I've done.
Because, you might have a networking event with, say, 80 people, 100 people, and literally the second you start walking on the stage, your credibility, the person that's on the stage, goes up. Like you are now the most important person in that room.
Yeah, one thing I've always understood, and I believe this to this day, the person that is on stage is in charge. The person that's on stage, that's their room. That's their audience at that point, okay? And even if that means you're not necessarily on the stage, but you're in the audience and you're stood up, all eyes are on you. That means everyone at that point is paying attention to you. That means this is your opportunity to shine. Not to waffle, not to get all nervous, not to stutter your words, to shine, and to shine bright, because people will come to you.
Having said that, the biggest fear certainly in this country, I'm assuming it's worldwide, but the biggest fear that we have as people is public speaking. We're more scared of public speaking than we are of death.
I know.
People would rather die than speak on stage. So bearing that in mind.
Can you imagine the conversation? Russell, you got to go and speak in front of 80 people. I'd rather die, thanks. Just kill me. It's fine. It's just not. It's funny.
So bearing that in mind.
Yeah.
Like, because there's nothing worse than going on stage and being crap, is there? Like, do you think that maybe if you go on your crap, it does the opposite, doesn't it?
I think it massively does the opposite. Yeah.
Going on stage, do you know how like they say like money doesn't change you, money just exposes you.
Yeah.
Right. So would you say stage time and being a speaker is the same? You're vulnerable, right? You're up on stage.
Of course, 100%, of course. 100%. Do you remember the first time I ever done an introduction to Samuel? Do you remember that at the Hilton Hall?
I do. I remember it very well.
Very well. Oh man, I put that in my book, man. I used to hate, honestly, I've never been that confident until the last couple of years, last sort of 4 or 5 years. And I was always very sort of shy, very negative, very sort of I would shy away from any sort of attention. I didn't like attention because it meant people are looking at me and then people are judging me and then people are laughing at me. I've always had it in my head that people are laughing at me and I could never get that out of my head. And even like playing sports and things like that, like I wouldn't play anything. Like if I went to play tennis, right? I used to play tennis a lot, but I wasn't that good. I was all right, but I wasn't that good. But if I went to play tennis, I'd make sure I picked the court that's furthest away from anybody so nobody can watch me. Same with bad, all them, everything that I just wouldn't do it because I didn't want people watching. And Samuel asked me to introduce them at an event like 4 years ago. It was a long time ago. Hilton Hall, it was a long time ago. And when I started introing him, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a doddle. Honestly, I was like, it's going to be a doddle. I've got this nailed. Until I got up there. And then I remember my soul left my body that day. And it was the most hideous sort of 3-4 minutes of my life. And I just cringed. And all I can remember is going up there. And I had it in my head, because I'd seen so many people go on stage. I had it in my head that you go up there, the audience will all stop talking. They'll all look at you. And they did. But they all had their phones out and they all had their laptops out. And I was completely thrown by it. I wasn't expecting that. And then I remember I started speaking and I ended up just saying, where are you from? And it was like, what am I doing? And I must have said, where are you from about 10 times. And then I started asking them, where they're from. Oh man. And then I think I
The
said
funny thing about that was just before you went on, we said to you, just do intro. Don't do anything. Don't try and do rapport building. Don't ask them where they're from or anything like that.
No.
Got it. You went up there and you just like, where are you from? It's like the only thing you could remember. The only thing we told you not to do was the only thing that you could remember, and you had to say something.
It's because I had it in my head. Where you from? Where you from? No, don't do where you're from. But I had it in you guys' heads. Don't ask them where they're from. Right? It don't matter. Right? And honestly, it was the worst 3-4 minutes of my life. And I could hear you and Samuel, you mother. I could hear you. You two were in the corridor at the back, and I could hear you giggling, and it was even worse, right? And then I said, look, give it up for Samuel. He's a great guy. Give it up for him. Give him a round of applause. And he didn't even come in because he was laughing so much. And then when he came in, he was laughing when he came in. And I'm like, thanks, man. It was honestly, it was the most cringe. But do you know what?
Did we film it?
No, I friggin' hope not.
And I hope we did.
Do you know what? It'd be good to, I would actually ironically not want to, but I would want, it's like, no, you don't want to look at something, but you kind of do. I would like to see that just so I could see how bad I was. But one thing I'll always I remember is Samuel said to me afterwards, so I felt really shit afterwards, and I felt like I'd let him down, and I felt really bad. Even though you two were laughing your head off, I felt really bad. And what happened was we had a little bit of feedback afterwards. After we got over the usual sort of taking the piss out of each other, whatever, that's fine. Samuel said, look, you got to remember, every master was once a disaster, right? And he always said, I always remember that. He always said, every master was once a disaster. And he gave me a couple of points to improve on. So I did. And then I started getting really good. And then I started to get really confident. And now, like, I'm going to say it, like now I'm a freaking awesome trainer. I'm an awesome speaker. I'm confident on stage, and I'm a very good communicator on stage. It's come from training. It's come from education. It's come from just getting out there and doing it and learning. And because I went out there, and I've spent, honestly, guys, I've spent probably, I didn't add it up, but it's over 50K on training on how to become a trainer and how to become a good public speaker. And the reason I've done that is because I knew the importance of standing on stage and doing one-to-many, not one-to-one. And what happened was my brand exploded, my business exploded, my investors list exploded. Everything went massive because I got the courage and the confidence to go on stage and to present one-to-many. That's what it's about. And again, every master was once a disaster. I sucked. Honestly, I sucked. But I don't know. So, and you've done lots of training as well about speaking, and I know it's not your like priority, but you've done lots and lots of training on speaking as well.
Yeah, because I'm aware of how important it is that if you do get an opportunity to speak on stage, or it's not like you speak on stage all the time.
Yeah,
it's not like my job to speak on stage.
But
even if you're just speaking to people at work, or if it's to 4 people. Being able to communicate and present, and a lot of the lessons yes, it's one-to-many, but being a good communicator is important for everything.
100%.
It's more important when you got 1,000 people in the audience than it is when you speak to 3 people. But we all communicate all the time, so it's definitely something that I think that is important, that you get as good as you can, and you're the best you.
If you take this podcast, right, we are now speaking one-to-many. So we get on average, 7,000 or 8,000 listens a week, something like that, isn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah, thereabouts. So we get a lot. We get thousands of listens every single week.
Actually, about 5,000, but we'll go with the 7 or 8.
Oh, so it's about 5. Okay, or whatever. Right. But my point being is we're speaking now, me and you, to that many people every single week. And like, it's all about branding and authority, and it's about having the communication skills to speak that message out there and be yourself and be your true version of you, not some bullshit story. You.
Because nowadays everyone can do a YouTube video, everyone can put out a podcast, everyone could. I think having if you're at a networking event or something, and you actually go on the stage, I think that is. I think back in the day, I would say, doing a YouTube channel, But nowadays, it's like
I agree, mate.
lots of idiots do that, right? But not lots of idiots speak on stage. There's still something about speaking on stage that kind of elevates you immediately in the room.
100%, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like people just are used to kids even putting out TikToks, YouTube videos. Even with the pandemic, we saw on TikTok, everyone was doing a bit of the silly dancing and stuff, but not everyone gets the opportunity to speak on stage.
Again, I think it's a really crucial skill, and mastering it is really important because, like you're bang on. Yeah, anyone can jump on a camera and do a quick YouTube video. They might not be great, but they can do it. They can do it in the comfort of the home. Having this skill and the confidence to stand up in front of 30, 40, 50, 100, 200 people and deliver confidently and become the expert is a skill that will need nourishing and will need working on. So yeah, I agree.
A little bit higher barriers to entry, isn't it? You've got to be a bit good, in order to get the opportunity. You've got to, even at networking. I know, obviously, when you just went your first intro, but in normal circumstances, if you went on and did that, you wouldn't get asked back to do it again, would you?
No, not at all.
You just tinker of a YouTube video, you could upload it every single day, and it doesn't matter. So definitely matter. Now, with that being said, Alistair is running a free event this weekend. So it's coming up. It's in London. It's called Six Figure Speaker, but it's a 2-day event. It's completely free of charge, just a £1 booking fee. And you're training people on all these skills: how to get started as a speaker, how to present yourself, how to brand yourself, basically everything that you've done to make your deal sourcing business a success, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's not, but it's over 2 days. Listen, we're going to be going over all the stuff you need to be able to present and be confident in what you do. Like I say, it's just a £1 booking fee to come. It's 2 days, central London, with myself, with my team, and we're going to be showing you the skills. And you got to get there, because having that skill to do that confidently will explode your business. It really will. It will explode your business if you do it right. And I know now, I look back at what I've done over the last sort of 4 years, and I look at the key elements of that, and it all revolves around speaking. It all revolves around people coming to me because I'm the authority in the room. That's what it comes around, and that's what you need to do. So,
yeah, cool. So anyone that's like in I would say if you're running your own business, you definitely get there, because even if it's for networking or whatever, but you should if you've got a chance to improve your skill at public speaking, give yourself a bit of extra confidence, you should definitely be there if you're in your own business. If you're a property investor, you should get there, because I mean, like, give an example with development. Obviously, we're looking at doing development deals. Most people find it really hard to find landlords or people that want to invest with them. Whereas, like me and Sam and Alistair, we get people coming to us. Why do people come to us? Because we're speaking on stage. So if you're a property investor, you should definitely get there. Even if you're employed, you're still going to want to give presentations. If you want to progress your career and you're employed, you're thinking it's still a good skill. I read a lot of business books about people from Google and Apple, and one of the things that a lot of them say is the presenting part is difficult. So if you've got a chance to brush up on your presenting skills, even for that, for £1, I think it's definitely worthwhile your weekend. So definitely come along. I'm going to be there on Saturday as well. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be
good, mate. It's going to be really good. Promise that. Promise that. It's going to be amazing. Make sure you get booked on. There'll be a link below. It's just £1 booking fee. Get booked on. There's a link below.
Right. It's now time for this.
Okay, in the news this week, we're going to be discussing John Lewis, the big high street retailer. So John Lewis are actually planning to build 10,000 10,000 rental homes over the next decade, as it's looking to diversify its business. So it's not something they've been doing, but they're looking to basically build a load of houses because they know that property is where it's at.
It's not just John Lewis as well. Australian banks are looking to buy and develop £1 billion worth of UK property. Lloyd's Bank are looking to build property.
Well, interestingly, what John Lewis are doing is they've done an overview, like an assessment of all of their property portfolio, the commercial property portfolio, and all the land that they own for warehouses. And they're basically closing some of the sites down because of obviously the way the retail businesses are going. It's all going online, and they're going to diversify, close some of the units down, but they're going to replace them with houses. So they already own the land. All they're doing is they're sort of reusing the property or the location for rental property as opposed to commercial property. So it's mainly commercial to residential, which is pretty cool. So what it did say here is across some of the shops that they own, they're going to be putting flats above them, things like that. Some of the car parks that they own, they're going to be building on. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
It is interesting. It's a smart. I suppose it shows the value of just buying assets and stuff and making sure you own, making sure that you own land, real estate, property. Then who knows what you could do with it down the line.
Interesting though, I've just read here, right? Because John Lewis obviously own Waitrose. What they've said is every development they're going to put a new Waitrose at. That's clever, isn't it? Because Waitrose is not the cheapest of shops. So every development they build, they're going to build a new Waitrose so they can serve the community as well. That's cool, man. It's really good. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, one of the things I've actually thought about off that, if it might be worth buying up like commercial units that you are in areas that might go to resi, like not now, but like if you're on the edge of an industrial estate or something, you think I could buy that. I could buy it as a commercial property, rent it out for 20 years, and then who knows? Maybe down the line I could get planning and sell it with planning or whatever, but it's just worth owning this. So worth owning stuff, isn't it? And investing your money.
It is interesting because that's what I'm looking at next. Commercial stuff, commercial units. There's a couple of commercial units that I've got in my eye line at the minute that have been empty for some time.
I can't see them. I mean, that must be very painful.
Yeah, they've been empty for some time, and I'm just looking at these at the minute to see if we can try and find the owner so we can see if we can buy them. Because I know they're on the edge of a housing area, so I know that eventually we'll be able to build on it. But yeah, so I'm looking at that sort of stuff at the minute. So good.
Cool. Awesome.
Interesting.
All right, lovely. Well, thanks ever so much for tuning in this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope to see you this weekend.
Yeah.
Six Figure Speaker Summit. It's going to be very, very exciting. Remember to listen every week. We are doing these every Wednesday. Yeah. So feel free to check in Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your normal podcasts. And we will see you next week.
We'll see you then, guys. Ciao, ciao.